Here are the new focus groups that Mark and John conducted in Iowa and New Hampshire. John sat down with Iowa's Democrats, and Mark talked with Democrats in New Hampshire, getting their views toward Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Bernie Sanders. And here's what the group said about Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton, 3 words or fewer.
Experience and knowledge.
I would say experienced and caring.
Hillary Clinton.
Probably win.
Still impressive.
If you had a family situation and you could call any of those 3 Democrats for help, which one would you call and why?
Hillary. She seems like the most genuinely concerned.
She's a mom.
Yeah.
She's well connected as well.
She's such an accomplished female leader who, in the face of defeat, has continued to persevere.
She has seen how the system works, so she might have a better chance of getting things accomplished quicker.
She can skip over any learning curve whatsoever.
Here we are, a woman stepping into a predominantly male arena, and I think she felt like she had to hold her own with them instead of just being who she is. And I think she's doing that now.
I think my opinion is it's a little more general, just in that she speaks articulately about her positions without having that edge and that scorned kind of woman thing. That's a little off-putting.
Just talk a little bit more about that.
I think that can put off a lot of male voters.
Oh, tell me what it's like. What are you seeing that you're seeing?
You know, when she's, I don't want to use the word, but
you can.
Bitch. It's that like women need to be equal. I mean, I don't feel unequal.
I agree. I don't feel unequal. I don't feel that I've had a job where I feel unequal to my male counterparts. So it's not an issue that speaks to me.
It's a double standard. If it was a guy up there saying that, he would be impassioned.
Do you agree with Shannon that some people might see that?
Oh, yeah.
I like Hillary. I think she's a strong candidate, but she has that.
I don't think you have to have that.
Yeah, and she has that condescending, and I can see that causing gridlock.
She does seem like a little condescending.
And I don't even think it's condescending. That's like a strange word for me. I'm thinking it's more like,
I'm smarter than you.
yeah, and I'm a woman. I deserve it.
Yeah.
And
she could lose that, I'd vote for. That's my biggest problem.
I think it's not necessary.
Raise your hand if you think that could hurt Hillary Clinton's chances of getting elected.
She's going to push off a lot of men, I think.
People love her or hate her, and that's part of what does that to her, is that attitude or whatever.
Boy, talk about a split decision between Iowa and New Hampshire.
Here's what groups in Iowa and New Hampshire had to say about Bernie Sanders.
Just describe a Sanders presidency.
More people-oriented. The revolution stuff, again, I think is awesome.
He tries to get people involved, as he's not going to do it all. You know, let's all work on this together, and I think that's the kind of thing people want to be involved in.
It's funny when you look at him, and he's hunched over. I mean, he looks like an old dude. I mean, he looks old, but the stuff he says, but he's in touch with, I think, a lot of the things we're thinking about.
Bernie Sanders. 3 words or fewer.
I would say knowledgeable and experienced as well.
Exciting. Forward-thinking.
Just another version of hope.
Visionary.
Game changer.
Who do you think is going to win the New Hampshire primary?
Let's go with Bernie Sanders.
Probably Bernie Sanders.
Sanders.
Probably Sanders.
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 Who's going to win the Iowa caucuses on the Democratic side?
I'll say Bernie. He's leading right now, so.
Kara?
I would say Bernie, too.
Bernie.
I would say Bernie.
Bernie.
I think Hillary will.
No opinion.
Oh.
I don't know.
Bernice?
Hillary.
I don't know.
Shelby doesn't know.
I'm between Hillary and Bernie.
I have no idea. Do you have concerns about Senator Sanders' age?
A little. I guess, like, my top concern would be, like, having a president just croak mid-term, you know?
Right.
I didn't like John McCain partially because of his age, and I think Sanders is 5 years older than McCain was.
Kara?
No, his age doesn't really bother me.
Is there anybody in the room who thinks when they hear that Bernie Sanders is a socialist that that's a problem?
I think it'll give him problems in the general election if he makes it that far. I think it's going to be a difficult sell to the rest of America.
Those of you who now think Sanders will be the nominee, have you thought that all along, or are you just beginning to think that more recently?
More recently. More recently.
What's changed to make you think that?
You know, his ability to connect.
Maybe the Democrats need something new, something that hasn't been tried. Why not Bernie?
So here's what they said about whether Vice President Joe Biden should get in the race.
How many people in the room want Joe Biden to get in this race? Joe Biden I would think it would be a good thing if Joe Biden entered the race. Only one out of you.
And raise your hand if you think Joe Biden's qualified to be president.
And qualified, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say qualified.
What are your reasons for not wanting Joe Biden to get in? Kyle, I'll start with you.
I really can't put my finger on it. I really don't have a good reason why I don't think he should run.
I'm not sure he would make the best president for us. I worry sometimes about some of the things that he's done and said.
He's a little bit, wishy-washy with some things, and I don't know. I mean, he seems like a really fun guy, but I don't know as, the commander-in-chief would be the best.
I don't know that we're going for fun guy right now.
Yeah.
Like he almost seems like a guy you wouldn't mind going and catching a game, having
Like you
a few
see
beers
the
with.
pictures of him having a birthday party with his kids, and him and Obama walking around with super soakers and stuff like that. That's funny and that's great, but I don't think as a president he would be, I don't know if he'd be able to stand up.
Shelby, no Joe Biden.
I think he's a really good support person, but I think he does have such a big heart that he can't be the face of the United States that he needs to be. But he's really smart and talented, so he's that good person to have, behind the scenes.
Bernice, no Joe Biden for you either.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with exactly what she said, and I just don't feel like the fire is there. It's not catching like some of the rest of the candidates.
I worry about his temperament a little bit and some of the decisions that he makes.
I have to tell a personal story. Our son died. I know there's no way that he could focus on what he needs to focus on for 5 years, probably.
Guys, really surprised. You just no takers on Joe Biden in Iowa or New Hampshire.
I'd say Mark and I both agree about this in our respective groups, that the most surprising thing on the Democratic side was the absolute lack of enthusiasm among these Democratic voters for Joe Biden to get in the race. A lot of them said if he's not in already, he doesn't really want it. A lot of them obviously sympathize with the situation with having lost Beau, but feel as though that has messed up his head. We played the Colbert interview for them, which a lot of people saw as very powerful and authentic. Most of the people in the room in both groups looked at the tape and said, that guy shouldn't run.
One person in the New Hampshire group said that guy shouldn't be vice president now. He's not up to being in the arena.
That's unbelievable, because my response was just the opposite.
Quite surprising. Focus groups are not polls, but if you listen to the voices in both these groups, much different than the polls. These were not people who even thought he should be in the race, let alone wanted him.
Let me tell you.